So thank you, Alan, for having invited also EASO in this very important day of reflection on a lot of evolvement and developments that lately have been taking place within the area of migration and asylum. As you know, our agency is mainly there to assist and to support member states in the implementation of the common European asylum system. And we have been doing this for some time. We were created in 2010 and since start of 2011 operational. And during all that period, there has been an immense work of colleagues creating, together with experts of member states, guidance notes, understanding of how this common European asylum system, which is mainly composed of directives, how it can be best implemented on the basis of collected good practices that then evolve in guidance. Our agency has many networks with member states with member state experts, plus the UNHCR. The UNHCR is mainly part of all of those networks, and also we have a very big reference group which we consult in different areas. So if I said guidance, networks, a reference group, in all our work, we consult with some privileged partners, such as the Commission, obviously, the Frontex, but also academia, and of course, umbrella organizations such as ECRE, which are always part of our reference group. We have also a very important consultative forum, and a lot of our products, when we think that they are really relevant to be consulted, are consulted with the consultative forum. So just to say that over all those years, until we come now at the moment of a revision of our mandate, we have been working a lot together, and a lot of our products are really carried by member states and by the civil society organizations through the forum that have made contributions. And the same goes in other parts of our agency where it is about information collection. Also there, our colleagues have over the years built a lot of confidence with the member states, and so been able to collect very precious information, which each year you see collected also in the annual report on asylum. And you may have noticed that it becomes always richer because we see that the cooperation has increased a lot. And so in this whole development, we see that now the Commission and the co-legislators have thought that it was the right moment to give us also a contribution in the monitoring. Let us say and repeat that the regulation is not adopted yet. So we are speaking all the time of a draft regulation, and as we used to say in Brussels, nothing is agreed until everything is agreed. It's really under this big caveat that we can only speak here today. Internally, as already some parts of the text seem to be quite stable, we are preparing, obviously, and we are also trying to liaise with other agencies, such as our colleagues in Frontex, to see how they are dealing with, for example, the vulnerability assessment for us to learn. I'm just going through this mechanism of the monitoring, as I've seen that Chris was mainly on the country guidance, so I will a little bit more focus on the monitoring. It is, as we said, it is operational, and it is monitor the operational and technical application of the common European asylum system. And why? To prevent and identify possible shortcomings in asylum and reception systems. So it is a preventive measure. And it is also to in each member state, to assess the capacity in each member state towards preparedness for disproportionate pressure, which can always succeed. The scope. The scope is indeed all aspects of the CIS. And indeed, there is a list then following, but it says very clearly in particular. So it starts with all aspects, and then it lists some elements such as indeed the Dublin system, the procedures, the application of the criteria, and the types of protection granted. But nevertheless, it starts with a whole range. So it is only let's say kind of a clarification that follows. It is also about reception, and it is also about staff and staff available and capacity. There is also a mentioning, and I find this really relevant to say, that there is also a mention of a horizontal element that we have to keep a track of. It is the respect of fundamental rights, the child protection safeguards, and the safeguards for persons in need in a vulnerable situation. On what basis will the monitoring be carried out? Well, there are a lot of elements that can contribute. Obviously, first we start with the information we receive from the member state itself. And then, as we have a big collection of data from member states, we obviously rely on the information analysis that is done on the basis of the situation of asylum in the Union. Moreover, what can help are on-site visits, case sampling, and also information from intergovernmental organizations, UNHCR as well, and other relevant organizations according to their expertise. Who will carry out now the monitoring? There are teams, there are expert teams that will do the monitoring. Those are, as a rule, composed by experts from our agency itself and the Commission. And then they can be joined, if need be, by experts from member states. Let us also say that UNHCR must always be invited as an observer in those teams. The teams, they collect the information and they bring together their findings. And it is on these findings that the agency, the executive director, in consultation with the Commission, will issue recommendations. In the regulation, you have a lot, like the building blocks of how the monitoring should be done. Afterwards, of course, to have a little bit more of the practical arrangements, we will need a common methodology for monitoring, because as said also by my colleague, methodology is key. Methodology is a way to be neutral and to apply the same way everywhere where you go. So this common methodology will include objective criteria for the assessment, a description of the methods, the processes, and the tools, and also the principles for the establishment of the expert teams. There will also be a program for the monitoring, because each member state must be generally monitored at once every 5 years. So this common methodology and the programming is going to be decided on a proposal by our executive director in consultation with the Commission, and it will be endorsed or adopted by a management board decision. Apart from this general monitoring every 5 years for each member state, there is also thematic monitoring. So the program for monitoring will also include some monitoring of specific or thematic aspects of the system. And then in very later stages, or as an emergency tool, we have also ad hoc monitoring on an initiative of the agency in agreement with the Commission, or on an initiative of the Commission, when analysis raises concerns regarding the functioning of the common European of elements of the asylum system or the reception system in a member state. So just to say that, I mean, I can speak more about these procedures, but I think I wanted to give a little bit a comment on what was said before. It is, we don't work in an empty. We don't start from an empty box. We have been working since 5 or even more years on quite solid common understandings of what are the guiding principles of each of the, or the best practice of each of the elements of the CIS. And those those understandings have been developed with the key actors. As I said, reference group, Commission, member states. So we might have guidance that is carried by the persons, also by the member states, apologies, that are going to be monitored. So in a way, monitoring is like a further development of the work done before. As you know, the recommendations are to be adopted by the management board, and if at a certain moment in time those recommendations are not implemented, the Commission may have its own assessment and its own recommendations. And it's only at that stage, when those recommendations are not implemented, that the Commission can consider to issue an implementing act to kind of oblige the member state to take a number of actions in order to get its systems back into track.